Hello everyone. This video is about how to apply for common law sponsorship in Canada from inside Canada. There will be different videos to cover all the details of this subject. Those videos will save you a lot of money if you apply through a lawyer, at least 5,000 Canadian dollar. Even if you want to apply for spousal sponsorship or sponsorship from outside Canada, those videos will help you to have an idea about different informations you need for your application since the concept is the same. All the links in the video will be provided in the description below. For partner sponsorship application, there is two applications will be submitted together. Sponsor application to evaluate the eligibility of the sponsor and the principal applicant application, the person who will get sponsored for permanent residency. So let's start it. First, we go to the Government of Canada website, as you see on the screen. Menu, Immigration and Citizenship, Immigrate, Family Sponsorship, Sponsor your spouse, partner, or children. So here we are. Sponsor your spouse, partner, or child about the process. We have 6 sections, cover different informations about the process. Fees, sponsor a spouse, partner from 1,050 Canadian dollar or a child from 150. Processing time, sponsor a spouse, partner about 12 months. Sponsor a child varies by country. The most important thing about sponsorship is that the sponsor has to prove that he can support the principal applicant financially and they don't need any social assistance from the government. Check if you are eligible. I encourage you guys to read all the details because it's very important. Okay, so who is eligible to sponsor their spouse, partner, or child? So this is about the sponsor eligibility to apply for a sponsorship. At least 18 years old, you are Canadian citizen or permanent resident, or a person registered in Canada as an Indian under the Canadian Indian Act. If you are a Canadian citizen living outside of Canada, you must show that you plan to live in Canada when the person you want to sponsor become permanent resident. You can't sponsor someone if you are permanent resident living outside of Canada. And again, the sponsor has to prove that he can financially support the principal applicants and they don't need any support from the government financially. So there is two different applications if you live outside a Quebec and if you live inside a Quebec. So if you live outside Quebec, there is one application you submit for the Canadian government. But if you live in Quebec, then there is two applications you need to provide. One application for Canada and there is another application you need to apply for Quebec. In details, we will go this later. And here who can't sponsor their spouse, partner, or a child. So please guys read those details and see what is applicable on the sponsor or what is not applicable. Now, about the eligibility of the principal applicant, the sponsor, who can sponsor and what is the characteristics of the principal applicant to be approved to be sponsored. So you can sponsor your spouse, you can sponsor your common law partner, you can sponsor your conjugal partner, and you can sponsor dependent children. The spouse For all of them, spouse, common law partner, or conjugal partner at least must be 18 years old. For a spouse legally married to you, for common law partner, you have to prove that you live or you have lived with your partner for at least 12 continuously months. There is no time apart, and if there is time apart, it was like short and temporary. So this is what is under common law partner. For a conjugal partner, you are in a relationship for at least 12 months, but the person, you never live with the person together because of religious or legal or any kind of things that doesn't allow you to live with the person. So we need to know the difference between if you want to sponsor a spouse, if you want to sponsor a common law partner, or you want to sponsor conjugal partner. What is the difference between everyone? Because the differences lead to differences in the forms and the requirements you need to apply for the government. And here, if you wanna apply for a sponsorship for dependent children, so guys, you can read those in details. How to apply? So here it's very important because here we are on the exact process of the application. So to apply for a sponsorship application, there is something called application package. Package, it contains or include all the forms, the papers, the documents, the requirements you need to apply for your application. And it's very good that the government, they do it in a way, in a checklist form. So when you choose application package, you need to fill certain informations here so you can get your checklist, and inside of your checklist you will get your forms and all the requirements you need to apply for your application. So since we are talking about common law partner sponsorship from inside of Canada, so this means the person is here inside of Canada with like visitor visa, with a study visa, with work permit, and they have their partner here in Canada, and the partner is permanent resident or citizen. So they want to apply for the common law partner sponsorship from inside of Canada. So who are you sponsoring? So we choose, are you sponsoring spouse, common law partner, conjugal partner, or dependent children? So it depends on your case, you choose, but we are talking about common law partner. So what country does the person being sponsored reside in? So as we said, we are talking about that the principal applicant inside of Canada with visitor visa, work permit, study visa. So the person is living inside of Canada. But if the person doesn't live inside of Canada, he or she lives outside of Canada, so you choose the country where the person lives. So that's why I said on the beginning of the video that I'm talking about common law partner sponsorship from inside of Canada, but you can apply this in your case if this is not your case. You can just change the information, and depending on the information you include on this part, you will get different checklist with different requirements. Do you need to submit documents issued by another country? So if you are from different country originally, so for sure you have different passport, you have birth certificate, you have marriage or divorce certificate, you have an identification card, and other documents. So you need to choose your origin country. So you can choose whatever is your origin country that you are from. So for example, let's I don't know, like Armenia. So let's check, get a checklist and forms. So here, as you see, we have application guide. So we have basic guide, we have complete guide. Those two guides are very, very, very important guides. You need to read them in details. I will have another video talk about most important things on those two guides, but for sure I advise you guys to read them in details because they are very, very important and they will help you more how to fill the forms and all the requirements to be like appropriate for your application. So now, as you see, we have the checklist. So this checklist include all the forms, all the requirements, all the documents you need to apply for your application. So it helps you a lot so you don't miss any documents or any form. And this checklist, it's like a cover page for your application package, and it must, when you organize and you finish all your application, this checklist must be placed on the top of your application package. It's like a reference for your application. And here, as you see, we have forms for the sponsor to fill out, and we have forms for the person being sponsored, the principal applicant, to fill out. We will go through all of those forms in a different video. And here there is country specific requirements. This is also very important. So since the person that we want to sponsor, the principal applicant, he lives or she lives now inside of Canada, so there is no extra forms for this country. There is no special instruction also for this country, but for Armenia, which is the origin country for the person, they need from you to provide them with this document and this document. So both of those two documents, they are country-specific requirements you need to apply from your origin country. And depending on your origin country, you have different informations. Like, for example, if you back there, instead of Armenia, we choose Austria, get a checklist. As you see, we have the application guide, we have the checklist, we have the forms for the sponsor, forms for the principal applicant, and inside of Canada, the person, he is inside of Canada, so no extra forms, no special instructions. But if you go here, Austria, there is different documents you need to provide from Austria. So be careful, guys, about this point. Okay, so regarding the biometrics, you need to check if you need to apply for your biometrics. Let's check. So find out if you need to give your biometrics. So depending on your answers on couple of questions, they will let you know if you need to provide your biometrics or not. So for example, if you come here to Canada with a visitor visa, with a work permit, with a study visa, and you already provided your biometrics when you applied for those kind of visa, so you check, I gave biometrics in the past, and here why or which type of application did you give your biometrics in the past. So for example, visitor visa, study or work permit application only. Are your biometrics still valid? So the biometrics stay valid for 10 years from the date you give your biometrics, so depending on the date you give your biometrics, so it's 10 years valid. So let's say yes, it's still valid. So as you see here, you don't need to give biometrics. So if we change the answers, I didn't give biometrics in the past, select the country that matches the one on your passport, let's say from Armenia again. What will you apply for? We will apply for permanent residency, include family and economic class. Okay, so you need to give your biometrics if it has been longer than 10 years since you last gave them. So it depends on your answers. You can see if you need to provide your biometrics or not. And pay your fees online. So you need to know that your application has a fees to pay, and those fees must be paid online. It's not acceptable to pay them in any different way. And we will go through this point also on a different video. So now let's go in details to document a checklist, common law partner, a checklist. As you see, it started downloading there. Document checklist. Common law partner including dependent children. As you see guys, this checklist includes 10 pages. There is two important informations you need to know about this checklist. First, as you work through the steps, check for each applicable item. If you cannot provide one or more documents required by this checklist, you must provide a detailed written explanation for each missing document. You must also provide any other evidence or documents you have available to satisfy the requirements. So those two important points about checklist. So let's go through the checklist. Information about previous examination to be completed by the sponsor. The person I am sponsoring was declared as my spouse or partner and was already examined as non-accompanying dependent when I applied for a permanent resident visa and didn't receive an immigrant visa. If you have never applied for a permanent resident visa, answer no. So we check no. Excuse me guys for my English because it's not my first language. Part A, forms required. Documented checklist for sponsor and principal applicant. Documented checklist, common law partner, including dependent children. You must attach this checklist, both Part A and Part B, all pages as the covering pages for your application package. So since we will do this, we will include our documented checklist in our application package. So we check here. First, forms for the sponsor. Application to sponsor, sponsorship agreement and undertaking. So as you see guys, there is here step-by-step instructions how to fill this form, and here how to upload the form and to fill the form on the computer. So we will go through those part later. Application fees. So as you know guys, there is a fees you need to provide for your application. Attach a single receipt for the sponsorship fees, the application fee for the principal applicant you are sponsoring, and the application fee for any other family member who are applying for permanent residency status. So there is here also a guide how much you need to pay for your application. Fees paid for the province of Quebec for their sponsorship process are separate from these fees and should not be submitted to immigration refugees, and citizenship of Canada. So if you remember, guys, we said that there is application if you live inside Quebec, and there is another application if you live outside Quebec. So if you live inside of Quebec, there is a fees you need to pay for Quebec. So this not include in this checklist because there is a separate application for Quebec. Right, for permanent residency fee, check this box if you are paying this fee now. Paying the right of permanent residence fee at the same time as the processing fees is recommended. So, guys, there is a fees for the sponsor, there is a fees for the permanent residency of the principal applicant. So it's better to pay both fees together. So if you do this, you can check here and check here. To pay for right of permanent residency, it's not obligatory, but it's better to not delay your application. Financial evaluation. Only complete this form if the person you are sponsoring, your common law partner, has one or more dependent children who has one or more dependent children of their own. If this doesn't apply to you, write NA, which is not applicable, next to the check box. So here we can check if this is applicable to us. If this doesn't applicable, we just write NA, which is not applicable, next to the checkbox. And there is important thing, guys, that you can't write NA here on the computer. So when you print out this checklist after you finish reviewing all the documents and all the forms by a pen, you can just write next to each point that it's not applicable to you NA. As you see, step-by-step instruction, view and print the form. Sponsored person, principal applicant and family members. You, the principal applicant, must declare your family members accompanying and non-accompanying. If you do not, it may result in the refusal of your application and the inability to sponsor them in the future. So here you need to clarify what class of application you are applying for. To apply under the spouse or common law partner in Canada class, you must be living with your sponsor in Canada. So please check the box which applies to you. The primary applicant. So the principal applicant, I am currently living in Canada with my sponsor and I am applying under the spouse or common law partner in Canada class. If this applied to you, your sponsor will send the application package by mail for the following address. So if this apply on you, you can check this point. For all applications, if the application is submitted using a courier service instead by mail, use this address instead to send your application package. There is here also very important point. I am also including an open work permit application. So if you are applying for common law partner sponsorship from inside Canada, so this means that you are under Canada class. This also gives you the right to apply for open work permit as part of your sponsorship application. So if you are applying for open work permit application as part of your sponsorship application, so you need to check yes, and I will have another video talking about open work permit application in more details. I am currently living outside Canada and I am applying under the family class. So if this is what applying on you, so you check this point. I am currently living in Canada and I am applying under the family class, not under the spouse or common law partner in Canada class. So if this apply on you, you choose this point. Generic application form for Canada. So for all of the forms, guys, for the sponsor and for the principal applicant, I will have a different video for each form in details. Country-specific requirements. If you remember, guys, when we filled out all the informations to get our application package and the checklist, there was country-specific requirements for Canada, since you live inside of Canada, and for your country of origin. So since there is no any instructions or forms requested from you in this part, so you just write NA, not applicable. Additional family information, the same, we will go through this form in a different video. And again, step-by-step instructions how to fill this form, view and print form. Schedule A, background, declaration. There is very important point about this form. We will talk about it also later when we talk about the forms. Relationship information and sponsorship evaluation. As you see, both the sponsor and the principal applicant must fill this part. Use of representative form. So, if you use a lawyer as a representative for your application, so you fill this form. But since we are doing this video to help you to not use any lawyer, so you save a lot of money, so you don't need to fill this form, so it's not applicable. I am not appointing a representative, so we choose this point. Authority to release personal information to a designated individual. So if you want to share the information of your application with another person, not a lawyer, like maybe your mother, your brother, anyone, so you need to fill this application, but I don't advise you guys to share your information with anyone, so it's better to choose not applicable. So now we finish part A of the checklist, which is, as you see, it's forms. Part B, supporting documents required. Important reminder, you must provide certified translation in either English or French for all documents that are not already in English or French. You must also check the country-specific requirements to confirm whether there are special instruction or guidance for documents based on your country of residence issued by a specific country. Supporting documents for sponsor. Send photocopies unless instructed otherwise. So, for the sponsor, status in Canada. I am a permanent resident of Canada, so submit a photocopy of your permanent resident card, both sides. I am a Canadian citizen, so submit a photocopy of one of the following 4 items, just one. Canadian citizen certificate or card, Canadian citizenship card without photo issued before February 1977. So you check which one is applicable on you, or I am Indian. So this is a proof of your status as a sponsor in Canada. Are you the sponsor, a Canadian citizen living outside of Canada? So in our case, no. So you choose no, and don't forget to check here the check box next to the sentence. Do you, the sponsor, and the person you are sponsoring having a children together who may have a claim to Canadian citizenship? So in our case, I will assume no. So we choose no. If you answered yes, you go to this part. Previous relationships. Are you the sponsor currently married to anyone other than the person you are sponsoring? No. Have you previously been sponsored yourself for permanent residency? We assume no. Have you, the sponsor, ever been previously married? So you mention if you have been previously married. If you are divorced, provide final divorce certificate. So it depends on your case. You choose this part. Have you, the sponsor, ever previously been in a common law relationship? Also, you depends on your case. It's yes or no, but we choose no in our case. Employment or source of income. So, do not complete this section if you are a Quebec resident. So, if you live in Quebec, you don't need to provide this section, so it's not applicable. You write next to the checkbox not applicable or NA. But if you don't live in Quebec, so you check this part and you provide the requested documents in this part. If you are working in Canada, if you are not working in Canada. So now we go to supporting documents for sponsored person, the principal applicant, and all family members. Identity documents, travel documents, and passport. So as principal applicant, you need to provide most recently issued passport or travel documents for you and all of your family members who will come with you to Canada. And this includes only copies of pages showing the passport or travel document number, date of issue, expiration, photo, name, etc. You need to provide, if you are in Canada or have previously traveled to Canada, you must include pages of any passport in your possession which bear an entry stamp made by Canadian authority. If you reside in a country different from your nationality, include a copy of your visa or residency permit. Diplomatic, official, or public affairs passport are not acceptable. So here also it's very important, guys, that your passport, it's better to be valid. Like if your passport is not valid, it's okay, you can provide copy of your passport, but once you got your approval to come to Canada or to stay in Canada, your passport must be valid. So it's better to be valid since the beginning. If you, the principal applicant, are living in Canada, provide the proof of your status in Canada. Example copy of temporary resident visa, study permit, work permit, etc. Birth certificate. If listed in the country specific requirements for your country of citizenship or residence, you provide one of those if this is applicable on you. If doesn't applicable on you, neither of the above applies to me. Okay, civil status documents. Current relationship. So if you have any formal documentation supporting your common law relationship, you can provide this section, but this section is not obligatory. If it's not applicable on you, it's okay, you still can apply for common law sponsorship. Previous relationship as a principal applicant, if you have been married before, if you are divorced, what is your status? Here it's additional information about the children if you wanna sponsor any children. So for minor children, for children 22 years or older, for adopted children. So you can read and see which point is apply on you. Police certificate. So for police certificate, it's very important that the country where you currently live, which is Canada, for the last 6 months, so it's not applicable. The country where you have lived most of your life since the age of 18. So it depends on this country. We can go and check what is the police certificate we need to provide for this point. So if you have lived in Canada for the last 6 months, or Canada is the country where you have lived for most of your life since the age of 18, police certificate for Canada are not required at this time. So guys, as you see here, if you need to check what is the police certificate you need to provide in your application, so you go to this link and we check what is the required police certificate from our origin of country. Okay, military service, if you didn't do this, so you just choose no, and here check if this box, if you are providing military documents. We don't, so we keep it empty, or we just check not applicable. Guys, I will do another video about police certificate, so it's gonna be easier to see. Now we are just going through the checklist general informations. Photos. Supply 2 recent photos for each of your accompanying family member and yourself. So for photos, you need to provide for the Canadian government. In your application, there is specification you need to apply on your photos. Also, we will go through this in a different video. Medical examination. By now, you don't need to provide any medical examination. The government will send you a letter to do medical examination when they process your application. Proof of relationship to sponsor. This part is very, very, very important, guys. You need to prove the relationship to sponsor, that it's a genuine relationship. So, are you and your common law currently living together? So we expected yes. We assume yeah, we live together. So if you live together, you need to provide at least 2 of the following documents. Proof of joint ownership or residential property, rental agreement, proof of joint account, copy of government issued documents. So guys, you check what is apply on you on those points, and you provide at least 2 of those points. The more you provide more proof, it's better for your application. So if you have a joint bank account, if you receive any government documents that prove that you live in the same address of your sponsor, if you received any other documents also as a proof that you and your sponsor live at the same address. If you are unable to provide at least 2 of those documents, as we said at the beginning of the checklist, that you need to provide explanation why they are not available, and you can provide other evidence. If you don't live with your partner, by now, so you need to prove that you have lived before with your partner for minimum 12 months, and the proof of contact, and the proof that your sponsor visit you at your country. So you check those 3 points if you don't live with your partner in Canada by now. Do you and your common law partner have any children together? No, yes. Depends on your case. Okay, so all applicants must also provide the following. So you need to provide maximum 20 photographs taken at different times and places, and write the name and the date of birth on the back of each photo, and the brief description of the context on the back of each photograph. So for sure, if you are in a relationship, so you have photos with your partner at different occasions, different places, different times, with family, with friends. So you need to provide maximum 20 photographs of those photos, and to write on the back of the photo a description, a brief description of the context of this photograph, like where this photograph was taken, what was the occasion, who is people inside of the photograph, like the friends, the families. In addition, you need to provide at least 2 of the 4 options here. Important documents for you and your spouse showing that you are recognized as each other's spouse, such as employment or insurance benefit, documentary evidence of financial support between you and your sponsor, other proof that your relationship is recognized by friends, like letters from family, friends, social media, proof of past cohabitation if you are not currently living together. So you need to provide at least 2 of those also required documents as a proof of the relationship. Again, if you can't provide those requirements, so you need to explain why you can't provide this, and you can provide other evidence. And also, guys, you need to know that even if you provide all the required documents, maybe the government will ask you for more proof in the future when they process your application. Here is very important. It's a summary of all the signature you need to provide on all the forms. So each form you need to provide a signature, the sponsor and the principal applicant. So here they show you every form who has to sign this form. So we will go through this when we will talk about each form. So that's it, guys, for the video of today. If you have any question, you can mention your question in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. I hope this will be very helpful, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and thank you again, guys. Bye.